Hey, welcome to my channel with Simon Hurley's new release, and off we go. And here's a still picture of the project we're going to work on today. Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Thanks for coming back. So today I'm going to show you Simon Hurley's new release for January of 2024, and then we'll make a project with it. So to start out, he's got 3 new stencils. We've got the Happy Hearts, which is a 2-layer stencil. And then we've got these polka dots, which there's 4 layers. So lots and lots of assortment, hence polka dot assortment. Can't wait to play with that one. And then we've got this bloom one with these floral blooms, 3 layers. And it's called In Bloom. Really pretty stencil. Nice layering stencil. Then we've got this cling background rubber stamp, which is a complete 6x6 called Bitty Botanicals. That's going to make a really nice tone on tone. And then we've got this handwritten one, which is right up my handwritten alley. Although that handwriting is much prettier than mine. It's going to make a lovely background. We'll be using that today. And then we've got our large stamp sets, and there are 3, but we've got first our new lunar pastes. So we have Breakup Blue and Love Struck. And what's cool about these is they coordinated with Simon's inks, so you can use them in tandem with or not. You can use them standalone, but I love this Breakup Blue. It's so pretty, and the Love Struck is gorgeous. We'll use that today. Then we have this floral stamp set with lots and lots of cool sentiments. Hello, friend, thinking of you. Just a note, you're beautiful. Believe in yourself. I love you. Hugs. And then there's a really tiny one, and this is called Beautiful Blooms. Like flowers, friendship bloom and grow more beautiful with time. And that's got a really nice, delicate dragonfly, a little ladybug, 4 butterflies, and a little bee, which I love, and then these beautiful, beautiful floral images, one of which we'll use today. And you can get the coordinating die set, and that is made by Spellbinders. And then I've got the bunnies. So these are the Happy Easter bunnies with lots of cute little punny sentiments and adorable little bunnies, little lover bunnies, and little chirps on the birds. And of course, you know, these can coordinate with other Simon Hurley stamps as well. And then it's got a regular Happy Easter and a Hoppy Easter with all kinds of cute little designs. And then there is also a coordinating die set for that, also by Spellbinders. And then finally, we've got this celebration one, and for my pug friends, and I do have pug friends, it's got a little pug, it's got a little, looks like a tiger maybe, and a little panda, all ready to give a big hug, and lots of nice little birthday things, little fireworks, little adult beverage, a little graduation hat. So this is basically an all occasion, and it's called Big Hugs. And you can get a coordinating die set for that as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our project now. And then I'll be doing several projects in the days to come with this set, just so I can showcase everything that you can do with what we have here. So first I'm going to just lay this stamp down, face down onto my little mat here. And I'm going to grab a piece of paper, just some white cardstock, and I'm going to coat this with the cookie dough ink. So I want this background to be very, very subtle. Pick off any little hairy bits there that happen to come off of my ink pad. And then I'll just lay my paper down, and I'll grab my little tool here, my little pressure tool, and just press that down, and there we've got our inked background. And I'll go ahead and clean that off, and we'll move on to the next step. And I do a little skipping around here because I have made a big mistake right in the middle of my project and had to start over. So I'm going to grab my stamp wheel here, and I'm going to grab the heart stencil. I'm going to grab the bigger stencil, and I'm going to lay this in the corner. Later I do it over though, because I lose out on some space there. And you always want to lay the shiny side down if you're using a sticky mat. And I'm going to go ahead and mask off the top and side just so I have less mess to clean up. You don't have to do that. You can just clean up the sticky mat if you want. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in with Love Struck and stencil that in just with a regular blending brush. And we'll be using Love Struck both times so that we have some shiny hearts and some not so shiny hearts in the same color range. So you see me here just filling in these hearts. And I do fill them in pretty good. I'm looking for solid fill here. So, you may have to go over once or twice. It depends on the brush you're using or how much ink's in your pad, if it needs to be re-inked or not, how much ink your brush will pick up. Well, there we've got our lovely little hearts, and this is perfect all by itself, but wait, there's more. And let me fight to pick this off because that's how it goes with me. And then I'm going to clean off my stencil right away. And you want to clean, kind of going downwards best you can, and then upwards if you flip it over, just so that you don't bend any of those little points in the hearts. And then I'm going to move this over to the center of my sticky mat, because that's where I decided it needs to be instead. And shiny side down again, I'm going to grab the second stencil. And it doesn't really matter where you put it. It's just a matter of how you want your hearts to look. But I'll go ahead and mask that off. And this is where I end up doing it over, because I get a lot of seepage underneath the hearts on this first one. And sometimes when you first open a lunar paste, it can be really, really, really soft. And if you're not careful, it'll seep. And that's me. And so next time, so I decided to do it, this way, with spreading it across, and this is how I end up with my seepage. So I recommend, when I did the do-over, it wasn't as bad. I did them individually with the little knife. And this is a really easy way to do it, and without a whole lot of waste. But like I said, when the lunar pastes are brand new, they tend to be very, very soft. As time goes by and you open them and close them, then they pick up a little bit more body. So let me go ahead and pick up the stencil. And there we have it. And we're going to set that off to dry. And I'm going to clean this right away with some water. And you see I'm scraping downward, down towards the bottom points of the hearts, and then flipped it over and scraped them downward. You want to clean those off right away. All right, now I've got my mess cleaned up there, sort of. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my image, and I will be cutting this out. Come on, let go. My little sticky mat and my Misty are brand new, so they're a little bit sticky still. So let's go ahead and stamp that out. And I'm just stamping it on, I think, some hammer-mill. Just whatever I have, but I'm going to, actually, I think I used the heavy stock. I'm all out of Simon Hurley, his Stark White, which really takes watercolor really well. This one doesn't as well, and I think this is Mixed Media Heavy Stock, or Ranger Heavy Stock. But it doesn't matter. I'm still okay with how it turns out. And I'm going to grab my little... this little mat right here, because I like to use it if I'm going to use inks to watercolor, because I can see the ink that I laid down on there, versus my black mat. Sometimes I can't see it. So we're going to start out back with the Love Struck. We're going to stay in the Love Struck family. I'm going to throw a little bit of water on my mat there. And I'm going to get my flower wet, just so that it takes the... just so that it takes the ink better. And this is where I discover this isn't the best paper for watercoloring, but it's okay. I just move right along from it. It's a handmade card, and I still love the way it comes out. So I'm just now grabbing some paint and starting in the middle there and just kind of pushing it outward. And with regular watercolor paper, if you get it wet enough, you get some really beautiful bleeding. I'm not getting that as much. It's not wanting to move around as much, so I'm having to be a little bit more mindful of how I'm laying my ink down. But I'm not looking for a super heavy coating here. But right here is where it decides it's not going to bleed for me. And so I'm just going to keep working with it until I get it to go the way I want it to. And even with regular watercolors, sometimes you need more than one coat. And so you do let that dry before you add on the next coat. So we'll just go ahead and get this ink down onto my flower petals and move along. I'm not going to stress about it, and I'm not worried about it going outside the lines because I'm going to do something to it, and you'll see that in a moment. So I'm just going to go a little bit deeper here in the centers. It's a little bit darker. And then just move that ink around so that it covers the petals mostly. I do want a watercolor look. I'm not looking for a perfection Copic colored look. I mean, we could do that on another one, but we're not doing that today. We're going simple, easy with the supplies we have. I don't have Copics anyway, but yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other flower wet. And I will color that one in too. And I think at some point, I don't think I cut it out. Yep, right here. Look what happens. What are you doing? Do not grab the wrong ink. I'm glad I caught that though. Let's grab the correct ink and throw a little bit of more ink down on my mat. Just a little bit more water. And I'm not a fan of the water brush, so I do like to use just a regular brush and water. Apparently, Tim Holtz's water brush doesn't, pour water out like the other ones. And I have one, but I can't find it. Typical me. So I want that a little bit darker because it's back behind the other one. I'm just going to very simple, very easily paint this with the ink. Not trying to be perfect, not trying to get too shady or not shady, just a bit. And darken some areas up here around this one. There we go. Now I'm going to douse the whole thing so that water bleeds out, that water and that ink bleeds out a little bit. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to paint the little flower in cookie dough to kind of go with the, because that's not the same flower as the other two, to kind of go with the background. Now the cookie dough is kind of hard to see on my mat, but here I am just trying to fill in. I'm not looking for massive intense color. And in hindsight, those might be leaves, but to me it looks like just another flower. So just some really simple painting there, and then throw some water on. And lastly, I'm going to go in with my green. And you can see now where the ink is bleeding out onto the background, which is what I'm looking for. And I'm going in with the fake plant. And this is going to be real simple. And I don't even need to really spray this one because it kind of leaks out. And I, of course, forgot to add water first, but that's okay. I don't mind. And these flowers, beautiful as they are, they're only part of the show. They're not the star. Everything combined is the star. Get a little bit more green right there. There we go. And such an easy cleanup right here on this little mat, which is why I like it. And then I'm going to go in while it's still damp and just do a little bit of depth of color in the center of those flowers. And blend it out some, just so they have a little bit of intensity. There. I'm happy with that. We'll go ahead and cut that out in my die cutting machine, and then we can put our card together. So I did dry that off camera, and let me just grab the die, the coordinating die. There we go. Perfect. Okay, you see I have that cut out on the left side. And now I'm going to decal trim this background. And I'm going to trim it down to 3 3/4 by 5 because I want to add a matte layer as well. And you see on my decal trimmer, I'm lining it up with the grids there to make sure I get this nice and straight. And I move it around to different spots on the decal trimmer so that it has a different trim on every side. Okay, we've got that part done, and then I want to add a little bit of color around the edges there. And I'm just going to go in with the cookie dough and just kind of edge it up softly. I don't want anything too intense, but I want, something that will, of course, draw the eye to the center of the card. So just a little bit of shadowy vignette with a coordinating color, that goes with the background and the rest of our card. And at the right angles, you can see the shine on that lunar paste. It's so pretty. So I'm going to grab another piece of paper, and this is just some, I think it's hammer mill. And I'm going to trim that down to 4 by 5 1/4 with the decal trimmer again, because I want to make a matte layer. And typically I would sew the top layer to the matte layer, but my lunar paste, although it's dry to the touch, I don't feel like it's dry enough for me to trust it with my sewing machine needle. That would be a 24-hour wait, I would say. Because I don't want to get it all goopy, because, of course, I don't know where the rest of my needles are since I rearranged my room. But, so I want this to be the Love Struck color, so I'm going to grab the Love Struck and the blending brush, and I'm just going to go around the edges of the whole thing. Don't need to color in the whole thing because it's mostly going to be covered. Okay. Just simple ink blending. I don't really want to go, you could go paper pad to ink to paper pad, but I don't necessarily like to do that on a deckled edge because I'm afraid something will catch my ink pad. So I finished that one and I glued them together, and now it's time to put the card together. So I've got this little I love you, and you'll see when I change my mind again, because I thought that I would make a flag and just cut that background out, but I try to do it with my decal trimmer and it destroys it because the lunar paste isn't quite dry when I try to cut it. So I end up just cutting that I love you completely out. And then off camera I made that little bow and coated it in the lunar paste from a die from my stash. So I'm gonna pop this up, and this is popped up on a little bit of foam tape. And I'm just sort of confabulating how I want this to look. I want the little bow right here, like holding that little tag. So I'm just going to glue the bow to the tag so that I don't have to mess with it anymore, and make sure that you can see the I love you part. And it's okay if it's covered up a little bit. We still know what it says. All right. And let's see, yeah, that spot right there is a little bit dark, but I'm okay with it. So I've popped that up on some foam tape and glued it down. And now I'm deciding where I want my little sentiment to go. And I don't think I want it to hang sideways like that. I think I want it to hang off of that flower right there. So I need to put a little foam tape on the right-hand side there to support it. And I'll tape it down and we'll be done with our card. I hope you like this new release. I think it's awesome. I'm so happy, and I'm really thankful to Simon Hurley and Ranger and Spellbinders for supporting me and sending me goodies to try out. Again, I've been really, really blessed and lucky that they have allowed me to do this, especially since I'm on a no-buy. It sort of fixes, my need to have new things. So I'm super excited. So there's the card. I hope you like it. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Everything that you want or need from the new release is linked down below from Ranger or Scrapbook.com. Thanks so much for visiting. Take care. Bye-bye.